Man, I got some big news. What's going on, guys? My name is JK, and this is JK is Hiking, where I'm all about hiking, backpacking, and gear. And tonight, I've got some big news for you, and it affects myself and my good buddy, Jeremiah Stringer. That's right, I'm going to tell you about it later, and before I do that, I want to talk to you about something that a lot of people have been requesting that I do a video on, and that is my backpack, the ULA Ohm 2.0. Before we get too far in the video, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, hit that notification bell so you find out anytime one of these videos drops. And if you like the video and find the content useful, hit that thumbs up. It helps the channel out a lot. If you don't like it, hit the thumbs down, because let's just be honest, there's gonna be 2 or 3 of you. So the reason I haven't done a video on this backpack is because when I got the backpack, you couldn't actually get this version of the backpack. And so I couldn't do a video to talk about how it's made, the fabric that's used on it, because technically you couldn't buy it. And because you couldn't purchase it yourself, I felt like I'd be doing a disservice by telling you about this backpack that you can't buy. So luckily, ULA has revamped how they're doing their backpacks, and you can actually customize your backpack with different fabrics that they weren't offering before. But before we get too far into this video, let's talk about how I got started in backpacking and the backpack I used when I originally started. When I first got started in backpacking, I do what a lot of people do when they buy their first backpack. They buy an Osprey, and I bought the Osprey Stratus 50. It's a 50-liter backpack. It's fairly lightweight. Of course, it's got this awesome breathable fabric in the back that rests right up against your back. The suspension system on this is great. It's a fully internalized frame, so it's very comfortable to wear. It allows for air to get behind your back. I really like the backpack. It did a great job for me. It did its job, but it's a little heavier, weighing a little over 3 pounds. It also had great space on the interior. As you can see, it's got a lot of room, 50 liters of space almost in there. But the thing I really wanted was a front pocket. I wanted something that was stretchy, that I could shove a bunch of stuff into, that I want to get easy access to. But on this backpack, you have a zipper on the side right here that allows you to get in there. But as you can see, I mean, that's a small opening to get into your back pocket. And so I found this to be a little cumbersome to use. I'm not a big fan of the pocket up on top, the removable pocket. I've still used it from time to time, just because it does have such a good suspension on it. And it's great for winter backpacking because it can hold a little bit more weight than my Ohm 2.0. But because this wasn't really perfect for doing long days backpacking, and I was getting ready for the Sheltoe Trace, I decided to go ahead and dump this. So I did a lot of research, and I decided to purchase the Ohm 2.0. This particular version of the Ohm 2.0 is made with an X-Pack fabric. When I bought this, that was not an option on the Ohm 2.0. And I really, after talking with the guy I bought this from, he really suggested that I check out the X-Pack fabric. It made it weigh just a touch more, but the fabric is so stinking durable. This white fabric on the outside of the backpack is actually a VX42 fabric. The VX42 is very durable. It can handle a lot of rough treatment. I can honestly say I have beaten the tar out of this thing. I've had it now for a year and a half, and I've probably hiked, I'm going to say, around 500 miles on this thing. And it has been through briars and thorns. I've drug it across logs. When you've got one of those low-hanging ones you have to crawl under, and almost took my back out. It's just been through a ton. It's been thrown all over the place, and there is not a hole anywhere on this backpack. It has done such a phenomenal job of just holding together. So the fabric has been a huge plus. Now, if you're looking at the way I have this packed, this is literally, I just got back from backpacking in the Red River Gorge. I did an overnight, and this has all of my gear in it. And as you can see, it is fully loaded up, and maybe weighs 20 pounds with everything in it. Everything fits in here great. One of my favorite features of this backpack is the front pocket, because you're able to put so much stuff down inside of here. And it blows your mind, just the things that you can shove down in here. And typically on top of all of this, and here's my tarp for my hammock, I can usually have all of that in here as well as my raincoat, so that I have easy access to all of that. As you can see, it's a stretchy material and you can really get down in there. If I shove my whole arm in there, it goes down to over my elbow. So if you can imagine all of the gear that you can fit into this back pocket, this was one of my favorite features of this backpack. Another thing that I'm a big fan of is the roll top. Personally, I'm a fan of the roll top because it covers everything up completely. When you roll this down, nothing is getting into the top of your backpack. If you're hiking on dusty roads, or you're in a desert hike or anything, you don't have to worry about sand and other material getting inside the backpack. When I was hiking with my old Osprey Stratus, I remember taking the pocket off of the top and not thinking much about it, but then I was hiking on a dirt road, and at the end of the day, when I pulled everything out of the backpack, there was dust on everything. And I realized really quick that if my next backpack was not gonna have one of those cinch tops, I was definitely gonna go with the roll top enclosure on the top of it. Now you can close this in two different ways. There's your typical, just snap it up at the top like this, but the way I like to do it is I like to pull it down tight, and I actually have connectors on the side of the backpack where I can just simply tighten it there and just cinch that down real good, which for me, I like that because that gives me the ability to take my Chair Zero and just pop that right here on the top of the backpack. So for me, this is a much better setup and allows me to have a little more use of my backpack during the day. So I'm a big fan of rolling it down and then cinching the sides down when I'm using this. The side pockets are another great feature of this backpack. As you can see, I've got my poles for my spreader bars for my tarp right up here. I use a UGQ Winter Dream tarp, and I have spreader bars that actually pull the sides out a little bit, which gives you a little more room under the tarp. I'm able to keep a water bottle in here. I've got my silky saw right here. I've got my tent stakes and my tie-outs for my tarp here. I've also got my hammock suspension and my tarp ridge line right here, also in that pocket. So as you can see, it can hold a lot. When I flip it over to the other side, we've got another water bottle right here. And we've got our water filtration kit right here. And a lot of times, depending on the raincoat I'm using, if I'm using my Patagonia raincoat, it's a little bit on the bigger side, so it doesn't fit in here. But if I'm using my Outdoor Research Helium 2, I can actually shove that into this side pocket, and it fits with the bottle and the water treatment right here in the side of my backpack, making it super easy for me to get to my raincoat whenever the rain hits. I love hip straps. I know a lot of people just prefer the 1-inch hip straps that just connect around the front of you. I'm a big fan of cushiony, comfortable hip straps. That's just my thing. Also, I love having the pockets here. When I'm taking my GoPro with me, I'll put my GoPro in here as well as my little Gorilla Pod that goes for it. They both fit right down in here along with a headlamp, so I've got easy access to both of those. Now, on this last trip, I didn't even take a camera with me. I think I said this in my last video. Sometimes when YouTubers go out, we don't want to take a camera. Sometimes we just want a backpack, because at the heart of all of this that we do, it's not about making videos, it's about backpacking. And we love backpacking so much that we want to share that with you. But on this trip, no cameras, so this thing is pretty empty. All that's in here is my headlamp, my little black diamond spot. Fits right down there inside of that hip pocket. As you can see, the other side also has a hip belt pocket on it. And I will say this, one of the things I've learned about hip belt pockets is that there's not a good hip belt pocket actually built where you can zip it and unzip it easily. This one's not too bad zipping it closed, but sometimes unzipping it can kind of be a little bit of a hassle. But like I said, I have yet to find a backpack that has the perfect zipper for a side pocket. Both pockets are made with a YKK zipper and a waterproof zipper at that. So it's made to protect your gear, but I will tell you, if you're hiking 4 days in nonstop rain, there is no zipper alive that is gonna protect you from getting things wet. Now, just to show you what all this backpack can hold, I've got my foam Z seat, or the knockoff Z seat. I've got my JK is Hiking food bag, which as you can see, there's hardly anything in it right now. I've got my extra clothes. I've got my electronics ditty bag, which is adorable because it's got my kids on it. I love this thing. I've got my pack cover in case it rains, which honestly, my pack cover usually doesn't go in here, but when I packed out at the end of the day, there was no forecast for rain, so I didn't have to worry about it. I was actually able just to keep it in there and not have any problems. Also have my hammock, my pillow, the Nemo Pillow, by the way, and if you haven't checked out Justin Outdoors' video on pillows, you are missing out. He actually talks about this pillow and I believe like 8 or 9 other pillows, so if you get a chance, check out Justin's video. Does an awesome job explaining all the different pillows that are out there and available for you. Go check him out, he's a cool dude. I got my old piece of Tyvek, Old Faithful here. I've got my Outdoor Vitals under quilt, 15-degree storm loft, and down on the bottom here, I have my Enlightened Equipment Revelation top quilt. It's a 20-degree top quilt. So as you can see, this thing can hold a lot of gear. And let me just open this up for you so you can see inside. This thing is massive. I could have actually put more gear in here if I wanted to, but with it being an overnight trip, I really wasn't worried about it. I like shoving my quilts down in the bottom because it keeps everything kind of in there good and tight and fills out the backpack in a way where I'm able to distribute weight better and the backpack's not loose on my back. As you can see, this thing can hold an awful lot. This part that you're seeing in the camera right now, the bag was packed down like this. So as you can see, there's a room for a lot more gear in this backpack if you actually want to use it. If you look on the back of this, I've got my Justin's UL water bottle pocket. I'm a big fan of this pocket. For me, it's been great. I've used it on every single backpacking trip since June of 2018. And this thing has done an incredible job. It'll hold a 20-liter bottle up to a liter bottle, and it leaves it right where you have super easy access to it. And it makes it super easy to carry your bottle with you, have easy access, get it out, drink it, put it back. I never had to stop to pull my water bottle out. I could be walking, pull it out, grab a drink, throw that thing right back in. Had no problems whatsoever. Absolutely love this thing. If you haven't gotten one of these, you can go on your Facebook flea market pages like Backpacking Gear Flea Market and Gear Rats and some of the others that you can find on Facebook, and you'll almost always find Justin somewhere on those selling these. And if you can get your hands on one, get your hands on one. I think they maybe weigh a couple ounces. For the gearheads out there, the backpack weighs 34.5 ounces. And it can hold a 62-liter load, but it can only hold about 30 pounds. The backpack itself is a semi-framed backpack. In other words, there are two frame pieces up either side with just a foam piece in the middle. There's nothing actually taking your back and holding it away from the back of your backpack. So this is holding right up against you. The only time I found that to be really uncomfortable were in 90-plus degree days where I was sweating so much that I was sweating through the backpack and into my gear. So what I do whenever I take this out is I always take a garbage disposal bag with me. Do you put bags in your garbage disposal? I don't put bags in my garbage disposal, but apparently I like to talk about them. I always make sure I have a trash compactor bag in this just to protect my gear from getting too wet because of my sweat. All in all, I absolutely love the backpack. Like I said, I've been using it for a year and a half, and I actually have a smaller backpack coming in, a ULA Circuit. It's a frameless backpack. I'm going to give that a try and see how I do doing some smaller trips with that to see if frameless is the direction I want to go. But I am a big fan of ULA backpacks. And if you haven't gotten one or you've never tried one on, find somebody that has one, give it a try, and I will say you might want to go out and purchase one. I've been using mine now for a while. I have a lot of friends that use them. They're called the darlings of the Appalachian Trail for a reason. They're just starting to really get a name on some of the long trails. So I would definitely check out ULA packs if you get the chance. You can go to ulaequipment.com to check them out and find out more about the awesome gear that ULA makes. Again, if you found any value at all in this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up. It really does help out the channel. And like always, stay strong, hike long, and I'll catch you on the next go around. Oh, hey. I almost forgot to tell you the big news. Myself and Jeremiah Stringer have gotten together to create the Backpacking Podcast. It's a brand new podcast that is out today. If you want to check it out, be sure to look for it in Spotify, Stitcher, all your favorite podcasting apps. If it's not on iTunes and Google, it's coming out real soon, so make sure you search for that podcast. It's called the Backpacking Podcast. We can't even believe the name was available, but we took it, and we're excited to talk about all things backpacking with you. If you're into podcasting, if you like to listen to that when you're out hiking, give us a listen and let us know what you think. Let me in on you, little secret. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the truck that just drove by. Subscribe to the truck so you find out anytime one of these cars drives by. Just got a text from Dan Becker. Thanks, bud. Said it looks great. Let's do that again. I'm married and wedding rings make noise. And I'm just making stuff up now and just don't even know what I'm talking about, so I'm just gonna shut up. Any value at all.